CEO, wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a goal builder. I can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black-owned firm, but we ain't all black.
What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance, and I'm ready to party. Bars. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter. This is the Grow Your Money podcast. Yes, I'm always trying to talk about how to grow your money and not blow your money, because when you blow your money, it ain't a damn thing funny. Ain't nothing funny about blowing your money. Ain't nothing funny about not making no money. All right. You know, I got to do my thing over here on Facebook every day. Okay. There's nothing funny about blowing your money, y'all. There is nothing funny about blowing your money. But that's the reason why I come live here every day, because I want to talk to you about ways that you can grow your money. But in order to really understand how to grow your money, you have to understand why it is that you're blowing your money anyway. So, you know, every time I come in here, I try to give you historical context on why certain things happen. Why do we respond in the way that we do? What has happened to us? What are the psychological effects of the way we are? And it's so funny because I try to post, you know, facts about Black history and Black wealth. And, you know, just these are real live factual facts. And I think people are so sick with racism. I think racism may be a mental illness, because it doesn't matter what is in their faces. If they have a belief because of this hatred, because of this illness, this mentality that they have, there's nothing that you can say, even barring putting facts in people's faces, that they're going to believe, because they have so much, they're so sick mentally with racism. So I found that fascinating, because like on my YouTube page, you know, the trolls love to come out. The trolls come out every single day, and you know, they say things. I remember I did a post about before Elon Musk, you know, and all the stuff about Elon Musk before the election last year. I did a post that went viral, and I was talking about how he said DEI must DIE, blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting in my Tesla and I'm reading this. And then I'm like, I'm at the Tesla station and there's 10 other Teslas at the Tesla station, all Black people, we all in them. And here we are patronizing this visceral racist. And the response that I got from these lunatics that I often see on some of the posts, especially in, you know, like on Fox News, but, you know, they'll say things like, yeah, right. Black people don't own Teslas. Where are you going to have 10 Black people with Teslas? Well, I just so happen to be in the DMV, where you have a lot of, you know, people who are upwardly mobile Negroes, you know what I'm saying? Or they'll say, somebody said, why would I hire somebody named Letitia? Maybe because she's qualified, but there are a lot of people out there that think this way. And that's the reason why I'm always trying to educate us so that we can make informed decisions. But we have to understand the past, where we are today, to know where we're going. And this is so crucially important. And this is why I come here every day, to try to talk to you about that very, very, very thing. So as you come in, you know, I love to shout you out. I love for you to talk back to me and talk Black to me. I love y'all Black people. So put in the comments where you're watching from, because I want to shout you out. Who are you? Where are you watching from? If this is your first time on here watching me, put that in the comments. What's up, Miss Sophia from Stockton, California, in the Grow Your Money family? What's up? I need it in the DMV. I can't wait to meet you. I need it. I cannot wait to meet you, because I'm in the DMV too. What's up, Sunshine Diaz? Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I haven't seen you in a minute. Where you been, lady? Who else we got on here? What's up, Booker T? Is it Booker T? Are you Booker T? Booker T? Or are you just Booker Williams? What's up, Booker from Fort Worth? And what's up, Precious Jules? What's up, Karen? All my usuals. Thank you. I appreciate you. I know that. What's up, Double A? I know y'all could be here anywhere in the world and you choose to spend this little time with me. What's up, James? And I appreciate it, because I don't take it lightly. And the other thing is Black-owned businesses. I'll never stop racism. Think you're so very intelligent. I'm not trying to stop racism. I'm trying to bring awareness to it so that we can overcome it. I'm not trying to change nobody of how they feel and their hatred and their visceral. They got to answer to God for that. My goal is to help Black people navigate through it with our power. So the self-defeating, self-hating Negroes who are who succumb to it, or who think, who have these white supremacist ideals, those are the ones who are going to stay stuck. But for everybody else, people like me and you from H-Town, Chris Reed, for us, the people who are forward thinking, we're the ones that are going to be able to navigate and live our best lives. What's up, Armando? And so that's what I'm here for. That's why I come here every day. All right. So Black-owned businesses, listen, the only way that we are going to be insulated from all the stuff that's happening in the world is if we support our own. The Jewish people, I often talk about, I follow a gentleman on YouTube. His name is Beryl Solomon. And he talks about why Jews are so rich. They are less than 1% of the population, but they have more than 50% of the wealth. And I could think of many different ways and many different reasons why they do have the wealth or how they procured the wealth. However, what I do know is how they maintain their wealth is through collective economics. So one of the things he said is, we don't do business with anybody outside our community unless there's absolutely nobody in our community to do it. We talk to our children and our families about about business. We make sure that we're always thinking long term. He said, this is one thing that the Black community really needs to get, because we are we are so church minded. We have been ingrained inside the church culture, and when you go, when you are churched and you are inside the church culture, we tend to serve the pulpit, the people in leadership, that we serve them. But what he said is that the pulpit or the rabbi serves us. It's a very different thought process. So the rabbis aren't flying around in private jets. The rabbis aren't buying $15 million homes. The rabbis are there to serve the community, which is a very different thought process. We have been taught that we need to serve our pastors and leadership, and they have these multi-million-dollar churches, and they have their parishioners who can barely pay their rent, or who barely have anything to eat. And they're giving their last, because they're taught to get their last or their first fruits to the storehouse. And, folks are starving because of that. And so we got to change the mindset and the concept about that. One of the things that I think is extremely important is, how we look at, even when we're giving to charity in our tithes, right? My dad is he is a faithful tither. My dad has been a Christian since I was 6 years old. He got saved. I remember I was 6 years old in church. My dad, he wasn't saved. Maybe I was 7, and he wasn't saved. He didn't go to church. He was like out there getting drunk, cursing like a sailor and all that stuff. And so he came to church one day. I was going to church every week with my auntie, and I remember when, they had the altar call, and he looked back at me and he had these tears in his eyes, and I was like, "Go, Daddy, go." And he went up there and he got saved, and he's been saved ever since. Dedicated. He's dedicated, committed to God, and he tithes. And one thing I posed to him a few years ago, and I said, "How do you give so much money to the church and your mother lives the way she does?" And I don't even want to talk on here. First of all, my relatives might be watching, but my grandmother, the level of poverty that she lived in was just something that you would see on The Color Purple. And this was in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. And then a few years ago, my dad tore down her shack, because it was a shack, and he built her a house. But, you're giving all this money, but that's what they're taught. That's what the Black church teaches. I don't even know how I got on this, but they teach to give to the church, to give to the ministry, to give to the kingdom. But the people are starving. People are impoverished. I'm giving 10% of my money to this church, and my mama house is about to fall down. It's crazy. So, but it's the conditioning, right? And so what the Jewish people do is they say, listen, our people in leadership, they serve us. We don't serve them. And we have to start thinking that way. It doesn't mean that we can't, give a percentage of our funds. And I'm not saying to take your money from the church. I'm saying, look at it. I'd rather give my money to a homeless person than to put it somewhere where they have an abundance of money. That's just my opinion. Crucify me for it or not. That's just the way that I think about things is. And, I think, and that's what we have to do with our community, you guys. The Bible says what we do for the least of these, you've also done unto me. So we need to be looking at the least of those, not the people with the private jets. We need to be looking at the people with, that are out here struggling. Those are the people that we need to be helping. But yet we bringing all our money to the people who already got, which is crazy. And are they really serving the needs of the people? So we have to do better as a community around that. Okay, Black people. So I just on my soapbox. That's how I was talking about the Jews. So we just have to really think about, just the mindset of how we do things, and that's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because as we've been seeing, I know y'all been seeing all over the media about what's happening with the tariff war. China, y'all, is tearing Trump's ass up. You heard me. China. It is funny. It's funny. However, it's not funny because ultimately this shit affects us. But China is tearing Trump's ass up. They said, listen, the president of China, he's like Birdman. He's rubbing his hands together. He was waiting on this opportunity. They've been waiting on this. They've been planning. Step. We checkmate. Domino, mother. You know what I'm saying? That's what's been going on with China. They have been preparing. And America is so sick with racism and arrogance that they overplayed their hand. And here we are in the middle of a tariff war. And so you have America, America has this ideal that I forget what's the name of that? What is that word that I'm looking for? But the ideal of greatness, right? We have that, right? Because we've been conditioned to believe that we're great. This is a great country, greater than everywhere else. What is that word, y'all? What's that word? We're greater than everybody else. We're superior, other countries are third world compared to our first world country, and everybody else is suffering in poverty, and we're just this great melting pot, when the vast majority of people who actually voted are sick with racism, low IQs. You know what I'm saying? People who will vote against their own best interest because they think that they are punishing somebody else. Like what kind of IQ are people who would vote against themselves just so your Black ass wouldn't get some kind of advancement? That's crazy. But they don't think like that because they've been so conditioned to be privileged for so many years that they think that they're insulated. But the reality is, what did Lyndon B. Johnson say? It's not the false sense of superiority. There is a word. It's one word. But the false sense of superiority that they have is based upon America, right? Because Lyndon B. Johnson said, if you could take the lowest white man, not delusional, but that's a good word too tomorrow. It's this grandiosity, idealism that America has. There's a word for it. But Lyndon B. Johnson said, if you could take the lowest white man and convince him that he's better than the best colored man, he won't even know you picking his pockets. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he will give you everything he owns. That is America today. Trump has exploited that. He says, I love the poorly educated, right? So it's so crazy because the powers that be, they don't give a damn about racism. They really don't. They care about that money. They care about that power, but they know the way that they could separate the people is if they separate them by race. Let me make you peasant, white man, impoverished and on welfare, and you got rotted teeth from drinking all that Mountain Dew. Let me go ahead and tell you that you better than all these Black people. And even though you need these policies, even though you need DEI and you need welfare, well, the Blacks are getting it. Even though it's more white folks getting it, the Blacks are getting it. So we want to take it away from them. In the meantime, the people up here, they're pulling all the strings. They keeping everybody down here divided so they can stay in power, right? So they use racism as a tool to keep everybody else divided. So we got to be smarter, and we can't play that game. We cannot play the game that they're playing. So we can't do hate for hate, right? So because they're so afraid that we're going to do them as brutally as they've done us. But that's not who we are. Right. All we want, last night in the B1 Real Estate Mastery, I teach a class called the B1 Real Estate Mastery Training through the Black Business School. And it's a great training. And so I'm so excited because we are actually getting ready to start investing collectively in a couple of places, in Baltimore and in Georgia, in Augusta, Georgia. So it's great. And so I'm teaching collective economics, the power of coming together and collaboration. One thing, one of the ladies, Yvette, said, she said, I'm not a separatist, but I'm not mad at, segregating ourselves. You know what I'm saying? She said, if I don't mind being separate, but equal, but all they, just leave us alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to separate from us, that's cool. Just leave us the hell alone. The problem is, historically, when they separated from us, right? Because we were separate. When they had segregation, it was supposed to be separate but equal, right? It was never equal. Okay. But even though it wasn't equal, after emancipation, Yvette, there you go. What's up, Yvette? B1 Real Estate Mastery. But even though we were never equal, okay, after emancipation, we didn't get our 40 acres and a mule. Okay. We didn't get the 40 acres, right? We didn't get that. White people got the Homestead Act where they got 40 million acres of land. They've always had advancements. Then you have the GI Bill where white people have gotten, they were able to build wealth through real estate, through the GI Bill, through FHA loans, which weren't given to us. Okay, so they've gotten all these advancements. Yet there were still neighborhoods throughout the country, Black neighborhoods where we were thriving in spite of. Black people were in Congress. In fact, the Black History Spotlight today, I'll tell you about a Black man who went from still in a slave ship to actually being in Congress. Black people were in Congress. They were making waves. In Wilmington, North Carolina, Black people were in the local government. The only coup d'etat that they had on United States soil was in Wilmington, North Carolina, where they overthrew the Black government and they burned down the town that was thriving. There were dozens of towns that were thriving all over the country. But what did they do? They bombed them and they burned them down, or eminent domain, or urban renewals, putting freeways through our communities. We need to make a freeway. We're not going to go in this neighborhood because this is white people, but we're going to go through this thriving neighborhood. We're going to go all the way around. We're going to go over here to make this freeway over here. Don't give them fair compensation for their homes. Just put them out. Now they're displaced. So every time we've tried to get ahead, they've done things to systematically bring us back down. That's what's happened in this country. That is what has continued to happen. In the meantime, they screw in folks that are ignorant, right? So in spite of all of that, yet we still thrive, and we still, then you got COINTELPRO, then you got crack cocaine and all the things that are put in our communities to make sure that we are immobilized, okay? That we're mobilized, that we're immobilized. Then J. Edgar Hoover says, what does he say? He has a fear of the Black Messiah. He says the biggest threat to America is Negro unity. Because if these Negroes unify, imagine the power they will have. This man said that. They fear the unification of Black people. And the worst thing that we can do that could happen in America today is the unification of Black people. That'll get them. That's free. That don't cost nothing, right? Willie Lynch said, and if the Willie Lynch letters are true, if they are, if they're not, whatever, but this is what happens. We separate the old from the young. We put them against each other. We separate the light skin against the dark skin. There's evidence. The light skin were in the house. The dark skin were in the field. We separate the man. We pit the man against the women. And ladies and gentlemen, we are now suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome. It's still in our DNA. It's happening today. But if we just could come together, and that is absolutely free. Help each other. Stop being so self-serving. This Eurocentric ideal of individualism, rugged individualism, got to get it by yourself, capitalistic. We are communal by nature. We are communal people. An African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to go together. Yeah. And the division from within, you guys, it didn't even come from us. You got to remember, we were united as hell in the 50s and the 60s from post-slavery. Then they started killing off our leaders. Then they would put informants in our organizations to sow destruction, to sow division, distrust. That was done by the FBI. CIA started putting drugs in our community, right? Tear us down, destroy us. CIA put guns in our community. Let them kill each other. We don't got to do it no more, right? Remember the Red Summer? Was it 1919, 1913? It was the bloodiest summer of American history, where they had Black people hanging from trees from all over the country. They didn't have to do that no more. They didn't have to hide behind the sheets. We'll just give them drugs, give them guns, give them a little money. They'll do it. Throw them in jail, let them kill off each other. That sick hatred of racism is what is destroying America. That's what's destroying the fabric of America. And that's the reason why today we are in this turmoil, because America is sick with racism. The reason why they voted this lunatic in office is because America, the majority of Americans, are sick with racism. They would rather have an unqualified, and I don't even got to go through all his unqualifications, right? The reason why he shouldn't have even been able to run, but they'd rather have that than a Black woman who's qualified, intelligent. And we can argue whether she was Black or not, her daddy Black, her mama Indian, whatever. But they would rather have that. Even some FBAs would rather have that than a qualified Black woman. We're sick with racism and even sexism. And that's what's destroying the country. And that's why all of this ego is happening to today. This ego of Trump. This motherfucker came out and was like, I'm a tear of you. I'm a tear of you. I'm a tear of you. And China, I'm going to give you 150 for whatever it is, tariffs. Fuck with us. China was like this. Bet. What ended up happening? Beef industry gone. Who's affected by that? Red state ranchers losing their money. But we're not going to tariff the electronics and we're going to concede on certain things. What has China conceded on? Nothing, right? But the illusion, Donald Trump is making the deals. And again, he says, I love the poorly educated, because a great majority of Americans, unfortunately, are poorly educated. Look at the schools, right? Look at what they're teaching. Look at what they're trying to teach. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're dismantling. Look at all of this stuff that they have put that they've done to keep us, really to prepare us for such a time as this. Not educating people properly, but it's that hatred and visceral that they have for people who have just darker melanin. But you gotta ask yourself why. Why do they hate us so much? You know why? Because you're powerful, Black people. You're resilient. They know together we are unstoppable. And they have succeeded over the last 50 years to keep us divided. Brian, get up out of here with that bullshit. They have succeeded. Oh, and I'm going to go to your networking event, Brian, too. Thank you for the invitation. They have succeeded in keeping us divided. All the time, we Black people ain't going to do this, and we crabs in the... Throw that shit out your vocabulary. Throw that out your vocabulary right now. Let's start talking about what we are. Let's stop talking about what Black people ain't. I ain't for that. Let's talk about what Black people are. Black people are strong. We're resilient. We're powerful. We're beautiful. We're all the things. Okay. So that's what I want us to change the language and talk about what Black people are, not what we ain't. But here's the thing. We make these brands, y'all. Who makes the brands? Everybody wants to be like Black people. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Everybody want to be like Black people, but don't nobody want no Black struggles. Everybody wants to be like Black people, right? We are the trendsetters. We make they shit pop, right? We are creative. We are all of those things. We make your brands cool. We make them sexy. We make them swaggy. That's why you see Pharrell. What is he over Louis Vuitton? That's why they employ Black people to be the face, because they know if Black people wear this shit, then everybody else is going to do it. I don't know if you guys seen the TikToks where they had where the Chinese manufacturers were exposing. Now, y'all, we are so caught up with luxury brands, and I do know why. I do know why. I know why. Because we were kept out of wealth for so long. As soon as we get some pennies, we're going to try to do whatever we can to look rich, right? That's just the mentality, right? We think it's cool to look the part, but not be the part. I remember I had to go, I had some investors that I was working with in the projects, Stockton, California. It's a little shaky over there, right? I was like, oof, in the projects. It was on Section 8. Someone was paying $300 in rent, but they had Mercedes in the driveway. Why? Because they rather look the part than actually be the part a lot of times, because we've been deprived of wealth building opportunities for so long. So we're gonna pay a $35,000 for a Hermès bag, and they expose that they only cost $1,200, and so we're paying for logos for the same quality, but we're gonna pay $35,000, right? $35,000 for a bag, and now people say they're investments. You know, they're going up in value, but this trade war has exposed a whole lot. And people are always talking about, I don't want the knockoff. Haha, you got the knockoff, right? I remember this girl who was braiding my hair one time. Shout out, I forgot. And she was homeless. Chick was living from pillar to post. Her son was in all the latest Jordans, down like, and she was like, Constance, I know you ain't putting your kids in them Skechers. As she pulled up to my 4,500 square foot home, right? Money in the bank, you homeless living from pillar to post, and you bragging about the shit that you buying your son. And you talk about, I know you ain't putting your son in your boys in them Skechers. They're 3, 4, 5 years old. You think I'm gonna buy my 3, 4, 5-year-old some Jordans? You think I'm gonna do that? Who had Range Rovers? Oh, you remember Glenda? Glenda was my assistant for 15 years. Okay, that's what. See, I ain't lying. Glenda was with me. You remember? We was in the trenches, Glenda. We went out there and we was like, God damn, their cars is better than ours. The hell? So, but that is the mentality of us Black people. We got Armando. What you say? Put that up. Priorities matter. Priorities matter. Yes. But and so we have to get our priorities in order. So I understand. I do. I'm not putting us down. I'm not the person who's going to put us down because, you know, we want the Louis belt and we want to floss. I'm not that person, because I understand the mentality of it. I understand why we do it. However, we got to change our thinking. And this exposure to what's going on in China, it really has to make us step back and look at and say, why am I prioritizing this? Because one thing I could always spot out is I could spot out a broke mother. You know how you can spot out the broke? Let me ask you a question in the comments. If you're in a room full of people, how do you know which person is the brokest one in the room? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. How do you spot out the brokest motherfucker in the room? How do you sniff out the brokest one in the room? I'm gonna give y'all a minute. How do you spot out the broke? You in a room full of people. I need to say what? The flashy one. Yep. The flashy one. The shoes. Armando said the shoes. Yep. Which one? The most flashy. Yep. The loudest one. They're talking. The flashiest and loudest person. The one with the most expensive shit on. They are loud and talk about the money that Booker. The biggest thing so if you ever meet me in person, I'm gonna be somewhere off in the corner, the loudest one. I ain't gonna be talking about. I'm gonna be over there, just low key, right? Then somebody will come up to you and they start name dropping all the people they know, and then they start talking about all the money. Those are the biggest turnoffs. Go to you. Those people are the biggest turnoffs in the world. The folks who talk about what they got or who they know. And I know you mean to tell me I've been sitting here talking to you for 15 minutes and I know everything about you, all the money that you make, all the cars you drive, and all the people you know. Those is the broke motherfuckers. Trust me, them the broke ninjas. Okay. So we like to be the flat. A lot of times we like to be. Wealth is quiet. Okay. There are the new rich people who maybe hood rich. They got a little money. They want to spend it, but they have no assets. We are one of the top consumers of high-end products. We're only 13-14% of the population, but we're 30% of the luxury market. Yeah. The crazy thing is, China said they're actually making that stuff and you can buy it. So have you noticed when you see like Asian people? Have you noticed that when we see Asian people, they be wearing all the designers? They have a Louis Vuitton this and a Gucci that, and it be mixed match like a motherfucker, but they be sporting it. It's because they pay 90% less for it than we do. That's why they can afford to do it. We paying the 90% markup. They're paying 90% less for the same stuff made in the same factory. It is insane. So we got to think. So we place our value in material, and that's unfortunate. But we got to change the mindset. We really do. It costs $35,000 for an Hermès bag, and it takes $1,200 to produce it, and then they sell the exact same bag without the logo, all the same quality, exactly the same quality for $1,400. It's a 90% markup just to have a logo. And the crazy thing is, the fashion divas and the fashion icons, they say, I buy it because of the quality. The quality, I mean, you cannot beat the quality. It's the finest leather and all. But if you come up with this exact same bag without the logo, they're going to call you a brokey. Same thing. Mine costs exactly the same as yours to make, but you have a logo on it and I don't, because they want the quality. No, they want the logo. We've made that cool. We've made brands cool. Y'all know that everybody want to be like Black people because we've made it cool. Let me show you some. So let me tell you this real quick. When you look at China's economy, they talked about, I think, what did J.D. Vance call them, peasants or some shit? Like this is the most toxic. Oh, go toxic. This is the most toxic administration ever, y'all. These motherfuckers is toxic. It's white trash running the country, which is crazy. And they say some shit that is crazy. The Republicans won't answer to their constituents. They doing what the hell they want to. They're not representing the people. They're not representing the taxpayers, right? And then you have J.D. Vance call them peasants. And then they're like, listen, we've been peasants for 5,000 years. We ain't even tripping. And so while America has built their wealth on the backs of your ancestors, your people, China has been more of an inclusive culture, right? And when we look at communism and we say communism is so bad, I can't say that communism is good because they might shut me down and the police might come after me. But communism is more about community, right? And so when you look at how they looked out for all of the population. Yeah, they don't get paid as much. They get paid. But you try to talk about we're a capitalistic society, and our economy was built off of the backs and free labor of another race, of other human beings. And you try to say that's better than communism. And if you look at China, comparatively speaking, over the last, 20 years, what they've done, let me show you some pictures. I was like, yo, China. So look, China, look, you see any places like that in America? I mean, it's clean, high tech. This is what they've done by being communist, by being communal. Okay. Now look at here. Look at their subway compared to a New York subway. This is America. This is the land of the free. This is the greatest country in the world. China, y'all some peasants. That's what our administration's saying. They saying China's some peasants. They need us. It turns out we needed them. And that's the unfortunate thing about what's going on. And I'm going to talk about how we can be insulated and all that stuff. But I just really I wanted to paint a picture of the trailer trash that's in these United States. Really quick, while I'm here, I want to just talk to you about the Grow Your Money Club, because the reason why I come live every single day is because I want to empower you. I want to empower you to be able to be insulated from all this stuff. And that's the reason why I do these trainings. And I'm actually have a free training getting ready to come up, and I'll tell you about it at the end. So stay around at the end. But I want to tell you about the Grow Your Money Club, things that you could do to enhance yourself today so that you can be insulated real quick. Have you joined the Grow Your Money Club yet? If not, why not? The Grow Your Money Club is a comprehensive program designed to take you through the complete wealth building journey. We don't just offer random courses, we guide you along a clear path, starting with fixing your credit and becoming a certified credit expert, to building your business, increasing your cash flow, diversifying your portfolio, and ultimately letting your money work for you. With over 30 trainings designed to increase your net worth, you get to either purchase the trainings individually or go through the 12-month roadmap. Here are just a few of the courses. From campus to cash flows, this is teaching your children to become real estate investors. The wealth map training shows you how to eliminate your debt, increase your credit, and diversify your revenue streams. You can learn to write your book using ChatGPT. Learn how to build your online community. What about 8 ways to make money using AI? Oh, and here's 7 online revenue streams to fund your $1 million dream. How about learning how to purchase tax deeds or land banks? What about getting started in government contracting? If you're a rookie, the Real Estate for Rookies training has everything you need. The Business Blueprint training will help you build your business foundation, get business credit, get business funding, and learn how to pay yourself so that you can scale your business to the next level. Or perhaps you want to create jaw-dropping video content using CapCut, Midjourney, and ChatGPT. There are so many trainings and master classes within the Grow Your Money Club, and I also drop 1 new training per month. You do not want to miss out on this opportunity to invest in yourself, because guess what? You are your biggest commodity. You are your biggest investment. Join the Grow Your Money Club today. I love it. I love, but I'm trying to look at the comments because when I be talking, I don't be looking at the comments. So thank you, Jahari, for putting the comments on the screen. But I try to look at the comments while when I'm looking at the videos. But capitalism equals money over people. I couldn't have said it better. That is a great definition of capitalism. Sonia, shout out to Sonia. She said, thank you for empowering us. My name is Constance, but I received that. A lot of people call me Candace all the time. So I got a list of what these luxury brands cost. And again, 30% of the purchasers, we make up 14% of the population, but 30% of the purchasers of these luxury brands look like you. Some cold shit. So Louis Vuitton, the average price is between $2,000 and $3,500. Okay. In 2023, they were valued at $124.8 billion. That's because of your black ass. The Hermès, $10,000 to $150,000 plus for a Birkin bag. Now, it's been outperforming the stock market in terms of value. But my question is, what's going to happen to the value of a Hermès or a Birkin bag once people know that they can get the same quality bag for 90% cheaper? Are they still going to buy because of the quality of the bag? Or are they going to be practical and say, you know, I really want to get a bag that is of quality? Do you think people are still going to buy the logos and not care about the luxury? I don't know. I just hope that we get some sense about ourselves. Okay. Chanel, the average price is $10,200. Let me tell you something. When I moved to the DMV, I ain't never see so much Chanel until I moved out here. Everybody got Chanel. I was like, shit, where can I buy some knockoff Chanel? Because I know the value of $1 and I'm not paying $10,000 for nothing material. Listen, let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna be transparent. I tear up some shit. And I'm not paying over $10 for a pair of shades, maybe 20. But people be like, oh, you should get these glasses, these shades, $100, $300. Them things will be up under my seat on the ground. My kids will step on them. There's no way that I would treat it right because I tear up some shit. So I'm not going to get anything like shades, y'all. And I look cute too. They just don't have a logo on them, right? But they cute. but I'm not going to pay more than $10 to $20 for some sunglasses. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not her. So, and to be honest with you, let me also be transparent. My ex he used to do all the shopping for me. So all the bags that I have a lot of bags. I have not had a new bag since I've been divorced because I don't shop. I'm not a shopper. So I haven't had, any new bags since I've been divorced. But yeah, so I'm still sporting my old bags. Gucci, the average price is between $1,200 and $2,500. Okay. Dior, the average price is between $4,000 and $6,000. Now, they say that the reason why they're so expensive is because the craftsmanship, the brand heritage, and the perceived exclusivity. But you got to look at, okay, are they really appreciating? Are they going to continue to appreciate? Okay, now we have this level of exclusivity just because of the logo, Black people, just because of the logo. So we have to start thinking differently. Think about this. You bought a damn Birkin bag, right? You spent your because I've seen some girls on TikTok and on Instagram. They got their Birkin bags and they, it makes them the appearance of looking rich and all that stuff. But do you own real estate? Imagine you could have had money coming in every single month, not the perceived value of this bag. So you got this bag sitting on your shelf. You may use it, you may not. And you're saying, okay, it's going to go up in value. It's going to go up in value. So this is something that you just have that's supposed to go up in value. But what if it crashes, right? But think about if you were to buy a rental property and that $35,000 you had that you paid on this Birkin bag, you put it down on a rental property. Now you're getting money every month right now for the rental income. Y'all, listen, I rented, and I'll keep telling y'all this. I rented when I moved to the DMV. Now I own rental properties, but I moved to the DMV and I decided to rent for a year. I ended up renting for 2 years and 3 months, or 2 years and 2 months. Rent was $4,000. It was $4,000 for the townhome that I was renting, and I spent over $100,000 in rental in rent. And when I thought about that killed my life because I'm so used to having my money work for me in some way, right? So when you own property, it's like you having money in the bank that's generating compounded interest. When you own rather than you renting, think about the money. Like I have a place to live, but my money's also making money. And so the concept of me, having a place where I'm just putting money, that made me sick to my stomach when I looked at how much I actually ended up paying for rent for nothing. There's no ROI. I had a cute townhome to live in for 2 years, but that money gone. Right. I've been a homeowner and I have investment properties, but I've been a homeowner for so long that when I move, or if I was decide to move and sell, that's money I get back, or money I get in the bank, or money I've made. But I moved and these motherfuckers and left them a pristine house. These motherfuckers try to figure out every way where they didn't pay me back my deposit also, which also pissed me off. So the $4,500 deposit that I put down on, I didn't even get all that back. And gave them tenants. I'm the one that found them tenants, moved out early. Like I hooked these people up. And I said, and what I could have done, because what everybody told me to do is they said, just move, don't even let them know. They got your deposit, they can keep your deposit. And I'm thinking, I'm a landlord. I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try to be right. Got out, left 2 weeks early because it was around Thanksgiving. Left 2 weeks early because I went to California, got out the property, got them tenants, had the house cleaned, and then the motherfucker tried to short me on the deposit. Yeah, that's what happens when you rent. Yeah, that's what happens when you rent. But if I owned that property, my equity would have increased. The time I was there, the equity in that particular property increased $100,000. So I would have left with $100,000 richer and the money that I put down on it. So I'd have walked away, another property, put $100,000. But I was like, let me get a lay of land. I don't know where I live, blah, blah, blah. I should have bought. That was my bad. Okay. But these are the breaks. Break it up, break it up, break it up. So let me tell you this, y'all. This is how we got to shift our mindset, because it's one thing that this administration is doing is it's bringing a lot of exposure and awareness. And that is what I'm grateful for. We said, You know, in the beginning, we was gonna mind our black business and mind our black business. I even made a t-shirt about it. We minding our black business and we minding our black business. You can get a t-shirt at conversationtees.com. Black people, we said the next 4 years, we minding our black business and we minding our black business. We ain't gonna be dealing with none of the bullshit because we didn't vote for this shit. Y'all did. Now it's so funny to see all these people. This is not what I voted for. I thought they were gonna be affected, not me. Dummy. And they gonna get you next 4 years too. They gonna get you next 4 years too. Dummy. And then for the upwardly mobile white people who thought that they were going to get more, who lost all kind of money in the stock market. Dummy. Got him. That's what Trump said. We was already, we ain't really affected one way or another, not too much. Now the people here that work for the federal government, I feel bad for them because they just laying off people for no reason. And now, all of the different services that are for the regular American people that we paid into. That's what you don't understand. Like they're talking about, we may get Social Security. Motherfucker, we paid into that shit. We put money in a bank. You mean to tell me the money I put in this bank is not going to be available for me? I put money aside for this, and you mean to tell me you're not doing me a favor by paying me Social Security? I paid for this. That's what the federal government will make you think, is that they're giving you something when you retire. No, you've paid all your life, the last 50 years that you've been working to get this money back. And now they're messing with it, and now it can all collapse. This is what white America voted for, unfortunately. And a lot of y'all, my mom has a friend, white girl, first time Trump came. No. Obama, when Obama was, I'm voting for Obama. I have black friends, I'm voting for Obama, right? So she gives my mom her ballot to put in the mailbox. My mama look, she ain't vote for no Obama. She voted for whoever Obama was running against. But that's an example of they will do what's in their best interest. They will look you in your face and say that they're your best friends, and they will do what they think is best for them. Black people, we got to start thinking black first, like everybody else. And that does not mean, I'm not telling you to discriminate against anybody, hate anybody. I love everybody. I love some of my best friends are white. I have white friends. But what I am telling you to do is be community minded. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with thinking about people, your family, your community first. That is the blueprint that these other communities set. But it's so funny that when you do it, it then becomes a problem. Everything that we do that is about bettering ourselves and our community, it's a problem. Stop the noise and just make sure that you think black first. I heard Wallow, the podcaster, I make millions of dollars. I ain't messing with your black owned business because y'all fuck with black, whatever he said. To me, it was ignorant. Because I think you ought to give black people a chance first, just like everybody else do. I go to a Chinese restaurant, worst service, horrible service. You go in the back, it's nasty as shit. Your ass still going. The egg roll line is all the way out the door. You still going, and it's patronized by us. Only 13% of businesses in black communities are owned by black people. You can never go to a Chinese community and see a black-owned business. You will not go to a Jewish community and see a black-owned business. You will not go to an Arab community and see a black-owned business. But you will go to a black community and you will see an Arab, Jewish, and an Asian Chinese business all up and through. Why is that? We are a consumption group of people. We consume. If we were a country, we will be the 7th or the 10th largest country in the world based upon our consumption. But think about if we turn that consumption, the money that we spend on things, material, luxury items, and we started to invest them in our communities. So the cool thing, again, let me talk about the B1 Real Estate Mastery. So last night we were talking about development and redevelopment. We were having a discussion about developing in certain areas. So when we're looking at Augusta, we're thinking about developing communities together. What does that look like? And then we're also talking about in communities that are blighted, how do we redevelop these communities? And the great thing that Yvette again said is, because we all talked about, and it was all the mindset, which is great. I love us. Is we said we want to do something to support and help Black people, right? So we're going to pull our funds together and we're going to redevelop in this area, we're going to redevelop communities. We're going to teach them financial literacy. We're going to put them in a position to where now they're the investor and not the borrower. We're going to put Black people, we're going to empower Black people to be real estate agents, right? I have a friend who's a rapper, very prominent rapper, and he's in Houston, right? And he says, you know, we stop in gentrification. We stopping gentrification from happening in our communities. I said, okay, awesome. How are you doing that? We buying all the properties so the white people can't buy it. And I'm like, okay, so how are you empowering the people? Because now they're just renters. So how are you empowering the people who live there? Are you teaching them financial literacy? Are you putting them in programs to become the homeowners? No, we keeping it Black. That's not empowering Black people. Empowering Black people is teaching financial literacy, teaching them, showing them how to save, showing them how to invest, showing them how to build. That is true wealth building. So that's what we were talking about last night is this, you know, kind of our goals of what we wanted to do in some of these communities. And then Yvette, I think it was Yvette, said, you know, I really want to create a community garden, right? So we could grow our own food, because that's also important too. Because the things that they're put, I mean, it's a holistic experience. It's about wealth. It's about health. It's about mind. It's about all that stuff. That's how we empower our people. And so the reason why I come here every day is because I want to just offer you that same thing, that same mindset, the same opportunities. You can do the same thing. You can do it with us. You can do it. What's up, Yvette? That was you. You can do it with us, or you could do it with somebody else. You don't need us, but just think community. Don't think individual. We got to get away from this individualistic, this rugged individualistic, Eurocentric mindset that we've been conditioned to believe is the right way. And we got to get back to community. I was telling them last night, listen, these Chinese investors that are coming in buying these properties, they got they money way longer than ours. Okay. When you have these Arabs that come over with these millions of dollars because they got oil in their family, their money is way longer than ours. We don't have the same kind of advantage. White people have 400 years advantage over us. You know, they talk, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Look at the Asians. They come over here. Their situation is totally different. You've never set them back. You never burned down their communities. You've never put drugs in their communities. They have not had the same challenges as we have. So don't compare it. I even hear Black people saying that same stuff. Look at everybody else coming over here. We have a different set of circumstances. So they have longer money than we do. But here's the thing. If we pull together collectively, that's the power, right? Dr. George Fraser, one of my mentors. I don't know if you know, he's my mentor. He says, he talks about a spider web, right? If you have all of the, I think it was a spiral. Anyway, if you take all the individuals, if you take us individually, it's easy to annihilate us. But if that becomes a fist, you could take, I forget what he says. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. Let me show you what Dr. George Fraser, because this makes so much sense. I need to show y'all. Let me show y'all real quick, because this is so important to our community. You know, I'm always going to be spontaneous. I need y'all to hear this, though.
I prepared a chart. And this is a chart that I think says in another way what he so profoundly provided us today. This chart to me represents beautiful, educated, moneyed Black people all over America. It could represent Black organizations. It could represent Black churches. It could represent Black social and civic organizations. And what you will notice about these beautiful Black people all over America is that everybody is doing their own thing, caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism, having forgotten that it takes a village to raise a child. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. There is no power here. Power is most effective concentrated. You can take a 55-gallon drum of water, spill it over, it will disperse, find its own level, and eventually evaporate. You can take that same 55-gallon drum of water, put it under pressure, put a lid on it, put a hose in it, put a nozzle on the end of that hose, and it could cut concrete. There is no power with us being disconnected. See, there's nothing wrong with dispersion. I live in Cleveland, you live in Atlanta. We have folk in the Caribbean, we have folk in Africa. That's dispersion. That's okay, but we do not have to be disconnected. We are a disconnected people. We are powerless in disconnection. This is where all the power is. You see? This is where all the power is. Whether you are at the center of your own network or part of someone else's network, this is where the power is. There's a beautiful African proverb that says, when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. When we connect, because we are disconnected, we're disconnected from those of like mind. We're disconnected from the best practices in our community. I don't care what it is that you want to do, what profession you want to engage in, what business you want to get into. I can introduce you to brothers and sisters all over America they are doing it to death. You just don't know who they are. You are disconnected from them. There is no power in disconnection. Okay? When we connect, we prevent interlopers from coming into our communities and taking and destroying at will.
All right, George.
Try to open up the Booker T. Washington delicatessen in Chinatown and see what happens. So we must connect. We must connect the dots. That must be the movement for our people in the 21st century. We need a lot of us doing a little instead of a few of us doing a lot. We need to get together to get ahead. That is why we must network.
Dr. George Fraser, I'm going to have him on here. I think I'm going to bring him on maybe next week after next. But I love Dr. George Fraser. I'm actually one of the faculty for the Power Networking Conference. It's just every year. This year's in Atlanta. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but here's the thing about Power Networking Conference. It is Forbes ranked it top 4 conferences, not top 4 Black conferences, top 4 conferences in North America, must-attend conference in North America. I went there, started going there, I think 2010, 2011. Me and my girlfriends, we was broke as shit. And we was hoping somebody buys a drink at the bar, right? And so now, here I am now, part of the faculty, and just able to get on stage and empower people. And in fact, his sister is actually a part of my cohort. She's one of the most brilliant minds. She's part of the Net 7 Collective. Victoria's part of the Net 7 Collective. She says she wants to send this to her family. But Dr. George Fraser is one of the most brilliant thought leaders in the country, in the world. He was actually on a panel. This is what he told me. He said this was last minute. He came. It was Farrakhan's, Tavis Smiley's, all these thought leaders, and he was scared shitless. And he came out with that, and he killed it. You hear me? Dr. George Fraser killed it. But just what I've learned and how I built my business, being around all of these Black people that are just forward-thinking, upwardly mobile Black people, it inspired me. And I would definitely attribute my connection and going to these conferences with the wealth that I've been able to build and the success that I've been able to build. I mean, I've met not just millionaires, but Black billionaires. I've had billionaires on my show, Dr. Michael Roberts, and, interviewed Jamal Bryant through Michael Roberts, and just the amount of networking that I've obtained through going to the Power Networking Conference through Dr. George Fraser has been insurmountable. And so the thing about it is all of this, learn, network, get in rooms so you can meet other people, so you open up your mind and expand your horizons. I'm actually going to be in a couple of conferences. I'll be speaking at a couple of conferences. One with your boy, Boyce Watkins. In fact, I met Boyce Watkins at the Power Networking Conference. He was one of the people that I met there. Now I'm a part of his faculty in the Black Business School. So we have the Economic Elevation Summit. Go to economicelevationsummit.com. Victoria, I know you bought tickets to the last one. We are going to be in the house. We ready in Miami, May 9th and 10th. So it's just going to be 5 of us speaking. Workshop style. It's gonna be hands-on, down and dirty. You're gonna be learning some shit. You're gonna walk away with some shit from all of us. It's gonna be amazing. So make sure you go to the Economic Elevation Summit. That's one place I'm gonna be speaking at May 9th and 10th. Also, I'll be speaking at Melanin Con if you are in or around Washington, D.C. Y'all, MelaninCon is going to be in the house. In fact, they just announced that Dr. Jamal Bryant was going to be speaking there too, but I'll be on a panel at MelaninCon. And I'm telling you, I met some of the speakers the other day. We had a meeting and I was like, shit, it's some powerhouses that's going to be at that too. So if you have not gotten tickets, if you're in or around DC, or if you want to fly in, go to MelaninCon. Victoria, hopefully you got your plane tickets to Miami. No, I think you had your plane ticket. So hopefully just go ahead and reuse your plane ticket so you can come and check us out in Miami. It's gonna be great. But Dr. George Fraser, let me just tell you, when I first heard him in 2010, I fell in love. Now, I can listen to George Fraser anytime and probably repeat everything he's going to say because I've had him. He's come to, California. I brought him to California many times and I listen to him all the time. It doesn't get old. What he said just resonated with me so deeply about his love for Black people and what we need to do and all that. So it's just been, oh yeah, Dr. Fraser's how you connected. I didn't know that, Victoria. Okay, Dr. Fraser's how you connected with me. That's awesome. And so I've connected with quite a few people through Dr. Fraser, Power Networking Conference. In fact, his sister is actually part of the Net 7 Collective cohort. And when I tell you, this lady is a powerhouse too, Harvard PhD. She said that coming through our program was the best. Now she around Dr. George. All of these thought leaders, all these people, she's been in cohorts and coaches, and I was a part of her coach back in like 2016. She said this was the best cohort she had ever been in. In fact, we had a meeting on Monday. She texted me on Tuesday, was just like, Constance, what you've built has been amazing. Watch this.
When I joined the Net 7, I had no idea of Constance connection. I met a group of women that changed my life. But Constance showed me when you get one-on-one coaching with her, you get a certain amount of those. You meet these women. We learned about government contracts. We learned how to build wealth. We learned about real estate. And we built a sisterhood that sustains me to this day. So I'm telling you, if you want to rock your life, if you want to grow your brain, if you want to upscale your brand, you can get all of that with today's purchase of the great. And I tell her, her name Constant is who she is. She is constant. She is resilient. And you will feel like you're the only one in a group of women because she has an intimate touch when it comes to knowing her clients.
Yeah. Let me tell y'all something. So we were at Power Networking Conference when she got on stage and she was just like, I want to get on stage. So what they do is some of the speakers, some of the more popular speakers, they'll put them on the stage and they'll auction us off like we are slaves. And so they auction us off. And then some people will, buy our coaching or whatever it is that we have. And then the money actually goes back to, that's a give back. So the money goes back to the Power Networking Conference for the youth. And so Dr. M, and you hear my daughter, my daughter, let me tell you something. My daughter can sell me better than anybody. My daughter has been coming with me to conferences since like 2014. She's 25 years old, but I just make sure that I have her in the room. And at the Elevation Summit that we're going to be in Miami, I'm bringing my youngest son too. And I messed up. I've been bringing my daughter since she was 14. But I wasn't bringing my sons. I brought my oldest son to Power Networking Conference last year, but I haven't been bringing my other kids. And I'm like, and so I was at dinner with Dr. Boyce. I was at dinner with Dr. Boyce and his wife, and he was like, and I brought my two kids with me. And he was like, how come he doesn't come? And I'm like, why doesn't he come? I just leave him at home. So bad mom. But I'm bringing them kicking and screaming, but I'm going to start bringing my boys as well. It's so important that you have your kids around these people where they can get in the rooms and they can be around just brilliant people so they can see the possibilities. My daughter knows Les Brown personally. She knows Lisa Nichols personally. She knows Dr. George Fraser. She knows all these really brilliant people because of the exposure. So I need to bring my other kids too, but you all should come and bring your kids as well, because it's important that they're in the room so they can see the possibilities and the brilliance that reside in these places, in these spaces. So make sure you come. So at the end of the day, y'all, I'm going to conclude with this. Watch my TED Talk, Google that shit. I talk about 4 ways that we can close the wealth gap, and it doesn't change. Okay. It doesn't change. First of all, invest in real estate. Okay. 80% of wealth in this country is generated through real estate. So imagine this idea of buying this Birkin bag for $35,000. What could you have done with real estate? And I got all off the subject talking about me renting a property, but I mean, really it was on the subject really, because think about this, that money that I used to rent, it could have been making money. So invest in real estate. The reason why the wealth gap is so wide is because, number one, they've had 400-year advantage, right? But they also got free land. They got loans when they weren't giving loans to Black people. And they're like, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Oh, fuck it. I'm going to flip them off. But that's real, right? So they tell us to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps, and they've taken our boots. We don't even have no boots on because y'all took the motherfuckers, right? So start investing in real estate. There are programs out there. I own a real estate company. If you don't know, I own the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. Then we kind of went dormant for a little bit, but I also own a mortgage company. So if you have any questions around mortgages, even if I'm not licensed, because I'm not licensed in every state, I'm only licensed in a few states. But even if I'm not licensed in your state, if you have a question, just DM me about, maybe a different scenario that you need, because I'm really here to help you. Okay. So invest in real estate. If you don't know where to start, I could just lead you to somebody. I could direct you to somebody or whatever. So invest in real estate, invest in stock. Okay. That's important. The reason why the wealth gap continues to widen is because Black people don't invest in stock. We're not investing in our retirement. I wouldn't even invest in 401k. I would invest in stock before 401k, but even before investing in 401k, I will put my money that I have in 401k in a permanent life insurance policy, because you generate compounded interest. That's weird. You generate compounded interest, which is way more, and then it's not predicated by the stock market, right? So the stock market is like this. It goes up and down, and your 401k will go up and down with the stock market. Your money, if it's that same money that's in a insurance policy, it's insulated because now you're generating compounded interest, and it's not going up and down when the stock market changes, okay? So invest in stock. Yourself, invest in yourself. Invest in children, bring your kids to the conferences, make sure that you're teaching financial literacy, but also invest in yourself. So that's the reason why I do what I do, is so I could teach you. Okay. So real estate, stock, your kids, invest in yourself. You are your biggest commodity, and you are your biggest investment. Okay. Bet, you know what? And when you have your money in the bank, say you had your money in the bank and it's generating no interest, you're getting less than 1% interest. They're taking your money and they are investing it in things that generate compound interest, like insurance. And the return that they're getting on your money is crazy, but you're not making any money off your money, which is insane. I used to keep thousands of dollars in my safe. I used to get, they would, from my marijuana dispensary, they would only pay me in cash because, at the time they couldn't pay us through the bank. So I would just my safe wasn't that big. My safe was like this wide, this height, but it was filled with cash. Like I just had to kick it in there, and I couldn't close it. But it was making no money in that safe. It did absolutely nothing in that safe. Same thing that was happening to my money in that safe is the same thing that's happening. First of all, I don't keep the money in the safe no more, y'all. So ain't no money in the safe around here. But the same thing's happening in the bank. You're making no money with your money in the bank. Okay. V the T Queen says she's licensed. Why you didn't say that in the beginning? I said Black-owned businesses. We need you. If you are in mortgage, or if you're in real estate, or if you're in life insurance, put that in the comments, because I don't want to give you solutions without giving you the direction of the solutions. And I'm not licensed in New York, so it's great that we have somebody that's licensed in New York. So put it in the comments so that we can utilize your services. All right. What do you do? What state are you licensed in, so that people can use you? Okay. So what I'm going to do, I thought about this today as I was preparing for today. I'm going to do acorns, because a lot of people so first of all, I did a Robinhood for beginners training. It was free. It was free for the people who were able to do it live. And then I put it inside the Grow Your Money Club. So if you join the Grow Your Money Club, you will be able to, that's part of the trainings that's inside the Grow Your Money Club. So if you want to learn how to invest in stock, I got the blueprint. I give you the A, B's, and C's for beginners. So the next free training that I'm doing just on here, and it's only going to be available that one day, is acorns for beginners. And the Acorns for Beginners training is going to be next Friday, free. I'm going to do it So instead of us coming here, I need you to go and sign up, and you can be part of the Acorns for Beginners. So I'm going to show you how to turn your pennies into power. Now, when I bought my marijuana dispensary, let me show you how powerful Acorns is. I think I saved like $30,000 in a year, right? So what they do, what Acorns does is it saves your change and it invests it for you, right? So every time you buy something that's $1.50, it'll round it up to the nearest, it'll give you 50 cents. It'll take your 50 cents and it'll round it up to the nearest dollar. So if you spend $1.50, it'll take 50 cents, it'll put it in your savings account. And then it invests in ETFs, which are fractional stock, the S&P 500 for you. So for those of you who still are having a hard time, actually, it's not even having a hard time. Even if you're investing in Robinhood, you should have an Acorns account too. I have an Acorns account too. You should have a diversified portfolio. Okay. And this is just a way that you don't even have to think about it. I never even thought about this. Was change that I didn't even think about. Okay. So every time I swipe my card, money was going to this thing that was actually generating more money for me. So even now, thank you, Victoria. She's part of the Net 7 Collective. So even now, you know, my kids, I have one child that's under 18. So he has a custodial account. So I have money going to his account. So you can set it up to where you're saving money for your children too. It's magnificent. So I'm doing a Acorns for Beginners training. So go to ConstanceTeaches.com. It'll be next Friday. This is a free training for you, but it'll only be available if you are live with me next Friday. Acorns for Beginners. I'm going to show you how to invest. I always try to give you a resource. If I'm telling you to do something, I'm going to show you how to do it. So this after Friday, because we're going to do it live after Friday, it will only be available inside the Grow Your Money Club. So this is an opportunity for you to take it for free. And then it's going to be only available for fee. Okay. So this will be inside the Grow Your Money Club once we're done. So you get it for free. Same time here. So it's 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific next Friday. So go to ConstanceTeaches.com and you can sign up for it. And the only people who are going to get to see it are the people who sign up for it. So sign up for the Acorns for Beginners. It's for you. Because somebody had mentioned it to me. Can you teach us Acorns? But when I bought my dispensary, I took my weed money. No. No, when I bought my building, I took my weed money from the dispensary and I took my money from Acorns, and that was my down payment to buy commercial property. So when you're thinking about, and so inside the Grow Your Money Club, one training that we have is the wealth map training. We have a wealth map training, right? Where I show you 6 ways to budget, cut the fat, and then take the money and to start investing. And so all of these things, when you do cut the fat, it doesn't mean you spend more money. Where can I put this money so it can work for me? One thing I cannot stand is not having my money work for me in some way or another. The only money I really want to have sitting in a bank account is the money that I'm using for my bills. All the rest of my money need to be working for me in some way, whether it's in real estate or if it's in some type of asset. And that's what we have to start thinking, Black people, is I want you to start thinking about your money and have your money working for you as an asset. And this is the way you can do it without even thinking. It's just taking your money, it's putting it over there. You just set it up, put it over there, and now it's making your money is making money. And it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. So I'll be teaching the Acorns class next week for you for free. Okay. I do want to say for Black women, if you are a Black woman or you know a Black woman, you've seen what Victoria said. She said that what'd she say? What she put Victoria's comment up on there? What she said about Net 7 Collective. One thing that for me, y'all, she said, all truth, we feel very loved, and I'm definitely growing my brain and growing my brand. Yo, okay, real quick. Victoria's Kitchen in Philly. In fact, I don't know if you got my text the other day. So I'm friends with the Kindred, the Family Soul, the singers. So I was like, yo, have you been to, because they're in Philly. She's in Philly. I said, have you been to Victoria's Kitchen? And he's like, nah. And I said, okay, you got to go. And I gave him the information. So hopefully Fatine from Kindred, the Family Soul will go to your restaurant. But Victoria from Victoria's Kitchen, she's a staple in Philly. So if you're in or around Philly, she has a soul food restaurant. She actually was the caterer for the Roots picnic a couple of years ago. She's just all around amazing person, but she has this brilliant business concept. And last week I told her, I need you to start, doing some social media stuff. And I'm like, look at Victoria, she doing it. So if you're in around Philly, go to Victoria's Kitchen. But she's part of the Net 7 Collective. And in that group, it's just like-minded people from like Jahari and I said yesterday. We have a meeting every other Monday. We do study hall. So we meet every Wednesday where I teach them concepts, and then on every other Monday we actually are doing the work. Right. So I want to make sure. So it was a 12-week program, and when this administration came in, you guys, I was like, oh, Black people, we really need help. And I thought about, I'm teaching them all these great concepts, and everybody learns at different paces, but how do I make sure that everybody is still in action? Right. I always say, I don't want you to just be a hearer of the word. I want you to be a doer of the word. But how do I make sure that people are actually doing what they need to do and they have the support? So I actually made Net 7 a continuum. So, some people were actually crying, like, are you serious? Do you really, we've changed it to where I really want to walk people through making sure they get to where they need to go. So it's not just the 12, because it's like drinking from a fire hose. I teach them a lot. I teach them a lot. And if they missed it the first time, they get it another time and another time again. Not only that, I make sure they're in action. But you have this group of women from all over the country that just have this support, right? They're unicorns. Like they're successful. They're brilliant. They just don't have a group of people. So you have women who not only want the best for themselves, but they want the best for other people. They want the best. They are helping each other. And so it's not about Constance, like I'm teaching, but the support is paramount, like the energy and the environment and the vibes and the synergy and the culture. They're all amazing. And to have a group of Black women, they say Black women can't get along. They say Black women are backbiting. They say we gossip and all of that stuff. No. And I am, because this is my brainchild. I'm very sensitive to the culture and the synergy. And so if it did get messy, it will be because of me. And I made sure, even my real estate company, I'm very cognizant of how things need to flow. And so like if there was like conflict, I made sure, hey, listen, we're going to go into the conference room, go hug it out. You guys got a problem. That's how we manage things. I don't let things linger. I don't like mess. I don't deal with mess. Low vibrational energy just ain't for me. So if there was a conflict inside, I would say, okay, what did I do, or how did I allow this to happen? But if there ever is, which there hasn't been, I would make sure that we address it to make sure that everybody feels that they're in a safe space. And that's what the Net 7 Collective is. So you have these women who come in, they learn concepts, but they have support. You have women like Emma Frazier, George Frazier's sister, who's 81 years old. Wisdom like crazy. You have a woman who hijacked a plane and did 10 years on the lam. You have women like Victoria who own, one of the most sought after soul food restaurants in Philly. You have women like Dr. Shirley, who is a physician who cares about your holistic health. So, I mean, and again, so I'm not trying to leave anybody out. Nobody, but you just have all of these amazing women that you have this network with, that you have access to, and me too. So it's a beautiful thing. So if you are interested in the Net 7 Collective, go to net7bbs.com, and I'm happy to schedule an appointment with you to talk to you to see if it will be a mutually beneficial good fit. Okay, because that's what it's about. So again, I never try to come here and come live with you without having a solution. I'm going to talk about everything that we did, that they did. I'm not trying to be more sympathetic towards Black people, but I understand us coming from a place of a Black woman. I do understand us, but I'm not going to just tell you about our problems. I'm going to tell you about our solutions. Okay. I forgot to do the woke tip. So every day I'm not going to do the woke tip today because I didn't already talk, but we're going to get up out of here. I do want to leave you with our Black History Spotlight. I try to do these Black History Spotlights, and you guys, please, if you're not following me on my YouTube page, go over to my YouTube page. I am Constance Carter. Please follow me, because I know that you guys are watching from different platforms. Go over there. Make sure you're following me from there, because I don't know if, you know, if something happens and I can't go live, I'm always going to be able to go live on my own platform. So make sure that you come to my platform and you subscribe so that you could always get notified, because I'm always going to try to give you something that you could use. So go to my YouTube, subscribe at I Am Constance Carter. Also, follow me everywhere I Am Constance Carter. So whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I Am Constance Carter, TikTok, I Am Constance Carter. And also text 87948, text Constance to 87948. This will give you access to if I have training coming up. We have the B1 Real Estate Mastery. We're going to have a new cohort coming up pretty soon. So if you want to start investing in real estate, that'll be coming up in a couple of months. But Net 7 Collective is always available. And then of course, the Grow Your Money Club. I do all of this for you. So here's your Black History Spotlight.
Let me put you up on some game real quick. Now, Robert Smalls wasn't just a freedom fighter. He was a genius strategist, a loving husband, and a legacy-minded brother who turned slavery into generational wealth. Now, he was born a slave in 1839 in Beaufort, South Carolina. Robert was forced to work from the age of 12. He swept chimneys, he rigged sails, and later he got assigned to work on boats. But even then, he was watching, he was learning, and he was calculating. Some believe that the white man who enslaved him may have been his biological father. But what we do know for sure, though, is that Robert wasn't about letting bondage define his future. He fell in love with a woman named Hannah Jones, also enslaved, who had a daughter from a previous relationship. They later had their own children together, and that's why he risked it all. This wasn't just about his freedom. It was about making sure that his family could live and love without chains. One night in 1862, while the Confederate officers were sleeping ashore, Robert put on the captain's coat, he mimicked his voice, and he sailed off that dock like a boss. He picked up Hannah, the kids, and a few other enslaved families, y'all, and he navigated through the enemy checkpoints in a stolen Confederate ship. And when he reached Union territory, he gave him that ship and his loyalty. After the war, Robert didn't just fade into history. He bought the very house he was once enslaved in. And he let that white family who used to own him live there rent-free when they fell in hard times. Now that's character. Then he got elected to the South Carolina House, the Senate, and eventually served 5 terms in the U.S. Congress, y'all. Education, civil rights, voting access, he was about the long game. Robert Smalls was the blueprint for generational wealth, family first, leadership, and legacy building. So I'm going to ask you again, what are you willing to risk to free your family? Because you come from brilliance, y'all, from vision, from strategy, and from power. You are your ancestors' wildest dreams. Now, if this story inspired you, drop a black fist in the comments and share with someone else who needs to know and be inspired by this Black History gem.